No visuals. That's funny. Okay, come on now. There we go. That should be. Window. No.
That's my connection to Yoopers.
I've got no times other than that in October I took American Coalition for Ukraine Summit.
I played so lacrosse. Good levels. I tried years ago.
I like the thumbnail. That's funny. All right.
It's just the on-off button and it's labeled.
All right. I feel less frazzled. Got it.
Ooh, I'm here.
Oh, let me turn the audio on.
And Tina turned on the sound.
Sweet.
Yep. Hi, guys. Oscar's not here, so we came in yesterday for him to set this section of sound up and leave it for us to use tonight, but that means we don't have the secondary mic for people who don't want to be on camera. So if you don't want to say something and you don't want to be on camera, you'll just have to talk real loud, and whoever is up here maybe can repeat it for you. Okay? And while I have your attention, while I have your attention, I am looking for somebody to be the designated snack bringer next week. And tonight, I am looking for specifically donations to fund the snacks bin kind of stuff. So we're almost out of coffee. I only have enough left for one more service and a couple of, packets of the sugar-free Kool-Aid mix. So I'm just looking.
I have to go grocery shopping because I don't have anything in my house right now. So
Yeah.
just, I'll mark that down and I'll just put that.
Okay. Awesome.
Write me a note so I know what to buy.
Okay. That's all I have to say. Thanks, guys.
Okay. And we can always move the stream away if you want to come up. We can make it work so that you're not on camera.
Yeah, you can just turn off the recording.
Oh yeah. Or just cover the camera.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, we'll make it work. So I'm a little out of sorts here. I reached out to Joanne because I know it's sometimes helpful to have some specifics for food pantry ideas. So that is what is listed here on the agenda. She's thinking of the boxes of Valentine's and bags of candy for those children who may not be able to otherwise pass out at their school parties. And then all the usuals. The next couple of weeks, donations is going out to Gwyn. Action items. So the room at the inn temporary shelter is still moving forward. The morning shift, when I went last Wednesday, I showed up at 7:30 in that whiteout kind of weather. I was coming down McClellan and I had to straddle the snowbank by Walgreens so I knew where the Berica was to turn. But we got there. It was fine. There was only one cot left to be taken down because the guests typically are more than willing to do the takedown. And it was their first week, so they were still trying to figure some things out. But in the evening, Caitlin said that it is still helpful to have people going. Do they want us to sign up still?
It's helpful to
It's
sign
helpful.
up to know that somebody's going to be on there, and that way, if it turns out like sometimes the person coordinating gets there early and is able to set things up, and that way she could let somebody know. But it's nice just going. You can just hang out.
Yeah.
And like shoot the breeze with the folks. It's nice. People like to talk.
They do. So they truly are those very short little half an hour breaks or work sessions.
It's quick.
It's quick. Mine was, mine took longer because I said, well, can you at least show me how to do the cots? So next time I know how to do that. So you can sign up at Yoopers United. That's the United Way one. I do have paperwork if you are interested in helping with the senior food commodity distribution and need the background check. I continue to bring that here. Tori brought up the fact that she just saw earlier today that the Feeding America truck is not coming through and won't be coming through till February 5th. So Tori is a little concerned about how those people will get what they need and is hoping someone might be able to help us fill in that knowledge gap or know anything about that. What might happen when Feeding America doesn't come through.
I will text the person I know who volunteers with them and see if he can tell me in the next hour.
Okay, thank you. And this week this one is at Berry Event. So it's not at Silver Creek, because I know Silver Creek would probably be right on that group. Do you have some ideas, Tina?
Kind of.
Okay. Or at least give us some information so we can know more.
So being a recipient of the Feeding America trucks, what I can share with you is that each individual location are separate entities. The one at Berry Events is a separate funding from the one out in Harvey is separate from the one out at KI. That whatever the sponsoring organization is who buys that, the commodities that are being distributed, and there is no makeup. So when they cancel it, it's just canceled. I've probably participated with it for at least 3 years, and there's been a number of times it was closed for weather issues, and there's just no makeup for it. It's just doesn't happen. So those of us who rely on it, I guess probably all are aware of other resources, other food pantries, and like the main ones, St. Vincent de Paul and Salvation Army, are once a month kind of situations, but you can do both. And then some of the smaller ones, like the little pantry in Gwyn, I think you can go there weekly. And there are some emergency resources through, like the Women's Center has a little pantry, and oftentimes churches have a resource for emergency food supplies. So that's what I can tell you, is there just is not a makeup for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Going back to last week, thank you again, Jen, for helping me understand the Michigan budget more than I did, which was really, I had no knowledge. But I did go to the House Fiscal Agency website, and I put that in last week's notes to a link, but you can just do House Fiscal Agency Michigan, and it comes up. And then there's a page that says key documents. That was a good one. So I printed out a couple, there's like 10 or 15 of these. This was that first slide that Jen showed with the colored. So I have these for you, because really that's all that helped me a ton. And so there are copies for you here. Before I forget, that's why I did that. All right, Candlelight Vigil update. It did. It did.
Finally happened.
It finally happened. Anything else? I saw that it was on the TV. I wasn't around, but I saw that it had some TV coverage.
Yeah, they did a lot. He set up a camera for quite a bit of it.
Oh, good. Okay.
It was well attended, and everybody was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing people who got up, and it was really. It was just what I had hoped it would be. You know, in all ways, it was what I hoped it would be, and it was needed.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for planning it. Jen, do you want to talk about the data center one?
Yeah, so the data center event happened Sunday from 7 to 9. What day is it? Tuesdays. We are here on Tuesdays. And
you can do it.
Thank you. We had 130 people online, and then 3 locations in person: Calumet Theater, the Native American Studies Whitman Commons at NMU, and Lake State Chrysler Center. And we had about 100 people between our 3 locations, so in total we reached 250 people. Yes, and I have some of the handouts that I had at the event. These are all available at the Michigan Climate Action Network website as well. I'll get you that link so that you can see. There's been, on the one hand, we don't know much because they like to come into our townships and communities and make a deal before things become public. And on the other hand, we're starting to better understand the impacts of this enormous energy use, water use, and potential increase in costs. And so it was a really powerful event. With the school, the Lake Superior Academy is actually a green school. It's been certified by Eagle as a school where kids are outside more than an hour every day, all days, rain, snow, shine. And so the fact that they put this up next to a school the thought is it was actually intentional, so that they can have a case where the data center will win and say it doesn't matter what happens around us, we get the right to do what we want. And so they're in a lawsuit right now. The school is against the company called Odessa. And then we heard from the planning commissioner for the township that has now put some rules together. And I've already spoken to 2 townships. I personally spoke to 2 townships today. And between the 3 of us, I think we've spoken to 8 or 9 communities that are interested in trying to figure out how to put some guardrails up. You can't forbid a business. You can do a temporary moratorium, but you can't forbid business. So it was a really, really well done. I just say the speakers were fantastic. I just moderated, and it was very well done. And so if you signed up, you're going to get the recording. And if you'd like to learn more, I'm hoping to have the recording here again, also from my sources here on the phone. Once I hear back from them, I'll get it to Paula, and or certainly by tomorrow, I'll get it sometime. And folks who were there, any other thoughts about how it went or what you learned? Yeah.
Do you want me to come up
there? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm really glad I went. I feel like it was super informative. As a younger person, I think there's some assumption that I might be a little more aware of data centers and how they operate and the AI stuff. And as true as that is, I still went into that conversation feeling very unknowledgeable. I don't fully understand the threat that my community is facing, and the talk was very informative. I walked out of that learning a lot. Still, I think there's a lot the common person doesn't know. I felt like that conversation might have been a 102 class and I hadn't taken the 101. There felt like there were some baseline building blocks that the speakers knew and assumed we knew that I did not come prepared with. So there's definitely more homework that I need to be doing to understand this. I feel like I learned a lot about the impact of these data centers to communities, but myself and other people I spoke to still don't really understand how the data centers function and which entities are pushing them into our communities, which entities are profiting from them. And as was previously stated, part of that I understand is intentional. It's harder to hold them accountable if you don't know who exactly is in charge. The individuals that represent these companies aren't transparent about who they respond to or how to get a hold of them. So, as communities, this is going to be a big battle to face. It'll be easier to prepare for them when they come rather than to respond to them once they're here, if that makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want me to spend like 2 minutes on the data center overview, or do you want to move on?
Go.
Yeah.
No, please do it. I have notes if you need them.
So, a computer farm might be a term that we used to use. For the internet to work, there are all these computers in pole barns that just run 24/7. Actually, and Zeke, if I'm saying anything wrong, let me know.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So those computers are running 24/7, and the chips in them have gotten better and better and faster, but they need more energy and they run hotter. And so they need more electricity and more water. And the water's literally to mist into the air to try to keep the space cooled. And then the water is either, if it's closed loop, it goes outside the building, cools down, and comes back in. But that requires more electricity. Or they run it into the building and they dump it out. And there's a lot of concern that it just goes into the air and that it doesn't actually go back into groundwater in particular. So we're pulling the water out of the ground and then it goes up into the air, but it doesn't go back necessarily directly into the aquifer it came out of. It's going to get moved along to the next aquifer, which, depending on where you are, is a bigger. But the crazy thing is that they're building them in Arizona and New Mexico and Texas.
Places that already need water.
Right, in dry areas. And that was done because there was cheap land and people who weren't going to speak up. So, and having all those computers running all the time is why we can pull up the radar on the weather and see the weather like on our phones all the time. It's why Siri can answer a question. And it used to be that you couldn't ask the computer a question. That was only happening on Star Trek. And you would have to type in the question. So you're sending an electrical signal, not verbally. And then you'd get the signal back as a website. With those faster processors running 24/7, they're looking for patterns in language. So what we call artificial intelligence is specifically most often a large language model. So they used to talk about, well, if you put 1,000 monkeys in a room with typewriters, eventually they'll write Shakespeare's sonnets. That is what we have done. We have created computers that can take all this data, the language, and spit it back out as more or less sentences. And that's the change that has happened. Yeah?
Don't you think that now one reason why they're wanting data centers so much is that law enforcement is using facial recognition?
So, So the question is, that it's not just about words and language, it's also being done with graphics, and in particular, facial recognition, so that it can be used to improve surveillance, particularly by law enforcement? And the answer is yes. That is certainly happening. So, and because we have these massive companies that own, that are worth billions and billions and billions, Meta, Microsoft, NVIDIA chips, there's only 4 or 5 companies running this entire thing. And so there are, and there's also a whole scheme going on in Michigan of, well, which community can we make it work? So they're shopping around, and we're not going to end up with as many data centers that are currently proposed, because Microsoft has probably needs 1 or 2, but they're going to see where they can put it, and so they're making multiple asks. I've heard that from the utilities, and I've heard that from politicians as this is being discussed. And crypto mining is literally gambling. It's guessing a number. It's running computers 24/7 to the point where they burn up 24/7. And when you guess the number, you get $20,000. You get a Bitcoin that can be worth tens and tens of thousands of dollars, or sometimes even more, depending on where the market is. It's nothing but gambling. And the Chinese, this is something I learned in preparing all of this, the Chinese kicked out all crypto mines from the country in 2021. And that's why we have more of them here now.
Which I think is also quite telling that China was the biggest home of crypto mining. They had the most experience with it, and if it was profitable or good for their communities, they would not have kicked them out.
Right. And yeah.
There have been, I think, at least 2 communities that have shut them out, and they've walked away. One was up by northwest Michigan, lower Michigan.
Kalkaska, that's data centers though, but
That's different, okay. So why are they walking away so easily?
Because they're going to go to another community and get it done. And they think.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And there are communities that, will say, well, we need the money. Or
because they promised to make a lot of money for you.
Yeah, but if you follow AI and Chat GPT and open artificial intelligence, which only came into being about 5 years ago, then China figured out some other algorithm and beat the pants off of OpenAI. And I don't even remember all the names of all these things, but we're on version like 5 of ChatGPT. This stuff, we also might be in the situation where we're going to put up these pole barns full of all these computers, and then something is going to change, and it will all be for naught. That was something I was really worried about as a state legislator. Like, we're going to give you these tax breaks, we're going to build all this infrastructure, and then what's going to happen when we don't need it anymore? Or it's, and that's you need to pay for this. And yeah.
I just wanted to add, you're right about the Chinese thing, but part of that is there's a step called training where they teach the AI how to handle the data and how to make these predictions. And that is the energy intensive part. And that is what people are chasing now, especially with the advances in these competitions between different countries, different companies. That is the most energy intensive part. We're also seeing diminishing returns on that. They want to make ChatGPT better so it doesn't make up a seahorse emoji or get the number of R's in strawberry wrong. But that takes a tremendous amount of energy for very simple gains, very, very ephemeral gains, and very little profit shown at this point.
Right. What a 3-year-old can do with their brain, we are training a computer how to do with millions of dollars of energy and water. And when I was on Energy and Telecommunications Committee, and U of M came in with their proposal, and U of M is developing its own ChatGPT. And then And they're like, oh, but ours is safer because ours is in the university and it's going to be better and we're going to have all these researchers and it's going to be okay and your data will be safe. And, you know, and there's the usual kind of, well, and then, oh, MSU is going to have one too. And it's like, really?
Do we need this?
And there is definitely examples where some medical things have been better understood because we have these better computers, particularly around protein folding, which is this massively complex thing that's helping people develop vaccines. Okay, I don't think we need, yeah, it has, so it's not that it's, crypto mining is nothing but gambling. I will just say that again and again. AI has, you know, various uses, but we are, right, we're dumping money into something and we don't know where it's going to go. We could put, and we can also tell them that they have to shut down at the highest use times, which we don't do very well, and make them shut down, and certainly make them pay for all the infrastructure that they want. So, okay, so it's literally just computers running 24/7. Are they gambling on a number to get a reward, or are they, you know, spelling strawberry wrong, creating graphics, folding proteins, and using a lot of resources? That's I think, does that help your?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Yep.
really what they do. Yeah,
Yeah,
Charlie.
so for those of us that have kind of slipped out of the loop over the past couple months, are there places in the Upper Peninsula where they're trying to cite these things, or what?
So the crypto mine that is across the street from Lake Superior is in Dafter, which is Chippewa County. There is excess power in eastern UP because of the dam on the St. Mary's River. So they have the energy. We don't have excess energy out here in the central and western UP. We're getting, actually, much of our energy is coming from Wisconsin over the transmission wires. I was told that the extra millisecond that it takes to get all the way up here makes our location less attractive. But the cold and the water could eventually be trade-offs. There are, as far as I have heard, and I asked around, there are no current data center plans here. But there was one in Kalkaska, but there's also natural gas under the ground in Kalkaska, so they could pull natural gas out of the ground and run natural gas to power their facility more easily. And up here, they'd have to pull the electricity from over the wire. So absolutely, and so the bottom line is, and you've heard me say this before, going to county commission, going to planning commission meetings, and asking them what's on their agenda, what are they hearing, what are they planning to do. And we have the example of the language from Clark Township on how to put up guardrails. Yeah.
The teacher in the school, was that a Bitcoin thing or a data?
It's a Bitcoin. Bitcoin is crypto mining.
Okay.
The gambling, the betting.
Do both these things emit 70 to 80 decibels of noise?
Yeah, so the noise of the computers constantly running becomes a whine, as well as the fans to have to cool them down become this whine. And the teacher, she had a video, she laid down a decibel monitor on the sidewalk outside her school, and it was 70 decibels, which is like standing next to a vacuum cleaner, like for continuously. So that's and so there's OSHA rules about how much sound you can put in, and there's actually sound thresholds in the energy law that we passed in 2023 about the sound of wind turbines. I think it's 50.
Yep, that's what she said.
Yeah. So it's already louder than state law.
I was going to say with that noise thing too, like there's serious ecological ramifications for continuous background noise, like songbirds and like insects that reproduce using vocal communication are seriously negatively impacted by that. So like not only the fact that like you're probably deafening your children, you're also like likely decreasing songbird populations.
And for the folks online, the comment was made that that continuous background noise makes it impossible for birds and insects to communicate with each other, tell each other where the food is, find a mate, make us happy, the things that we need in our world. Yeah.
And on the electricity standpoint, once a data center is built that can handle a certain amount of wattage or whatever you've measured, and if they do get more efficient chips, the tendency so far has been if it's twice as energy efficient, put twice as many in there. Like no one's throttling back, and we are blowing through our climate commitments. We are not actually going to meet them when all these companies are basically canceling anything that they said about emissions.
Yeah, so this is the point about the chips get more efficient, so they just put more chips in to use all that extra electricity that's now been put on the grid. And the other thing they're doing is kind of like how roads are, we have rush hour when they're really clogged, and then there's other times of day when it's relatively empty. There is excess capacity on our grid, except when everyone comes home to make dinner at the same time, and that's when things can clog up. So that's another argument for them. People say, oh, well, we're making it more efficient on the grid, as well as making the chips more efficient. However, they're not paying for it, too. They're not paying for that additional use, which would bring our bills down, because that's a big problem up here, is the excess capacity. And once we build that excess capacity and they decide to move on, now we have to pay for that infrastructure for how to keep it up and running.
Waste.
Yeah, the waste, and the waste of the computers. They literally use them up and then throw them away.
The crazy thing is they tore down 2 power plants in Marquette in the past 8 years.
Yes. Right.
Can we?
Yeah, if we can, and I'm going to be giving a talk to the Laughing Whitefish Bird Alliance on February 10th or 12th, and I'm going to talk about that exactly. So I'm going to give just an energy talk to the Laughing Whitefish Bird Alliance, and I think their meeting is the 10th or the 12th. It's an even number that week. If you want to talk more, and I can talk to you all about where our energy comes from in the UP.
Thanks, Jen.
You're welcome.
I will say that our politicians are starting to pay attention, even the Republicans, because I saw today at 12:06 that Leonard joins the push against data centers in Michigan, calling for a moratorium and end to subsidies. So even our GOP people are at least talking about them. So just a little note. Today's Free America walkout at 2 o'clock. Zeke, Cynthia, and I went there to collect signatures. We were successful with that, but when I went to RSVP for the event at about 10 to 2, it was canceled. So I don't know if there were any other events that happened or people walked out, but that one was canceled. We're thinking it was due to cold. I don't know. Anyone else have any info on those? Yeah.
I've heard back on the food pantry.
Okay. Zeke?
I had an update for the CPJ, but none on that.
Okay.
So later or whenever it makes sense.
Yeah, let me look.
Was that including the university and the schools and things like that?
Yeah, that one was actually hosted by someone on campus. Okay. It was NMU Wildcats for that one. Food pantry.
I should have looked at my phone when I was up there.
That's all right.
We canceled tomorrow due to the cold to protect our volunteers who would be standing in the cold for 3 to 5 hours. Yeah. This is a Rotary. We'll run the next pantry in Marquette on February 18th. I heard that Sawyer's not running this Thursday, but you need to confirm that. There is a scheduled pantry at Silver Creek. Check with them to confirm. St. Vincent's, Salvation Army, and NMU students' campus pantry are available. Check the United Way for the most current information. Okay. Knowing this supplemental food will not be available is a concern and is weighed against the safety of our volunteers.
Okay. Thank you. Do you want to just get up so I don't have to?
Citizens for Peace and Justice Vigil this Saturday. We are shortening it, so it'll be from 11:30 a.m. until 12 p.m. instead of 12:30. That is due to the temperatures. The forecast says that we are looking at winds that are wind chill that is possibly up to negative 30 degrees, causing frostbite in as little as 10 minutes. So we're going to keep this short with the option to even cancel it if it starts getting really, really bad. We will make that call once people are out there, though. And I have an idea, so let's also spread peace and warmth. If you have an extra set of gloves or an extra hat or an extra scarf, bring it along with your sign. We can provide that to someone who maybe didn't dress as warmly. And if people are out there and you're starting to feel unusually cold, feel free to go and just take a shift and stop into the Toast or the post office or something, and be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Speaking of safety, right? Ukraine 4-year anniversary. We know, if you'll notice down at the bottom, I have Nadia is coming February 17th. So that is taking place. Anything else, Amanda?
There's also her talk on the, was it the 16th? She has a talk at the Nagani Library?
Oh, February 16th at the Nagani Library?
Probably why she's leaving the 17th.
Exactly.
Do you have times or anything?
Not off the top of my head. Let me go double check.
Okay. Just shout it out. There was talk about having another meeting with Sheriff Seibert, and in one of the threads that I'm reading, someone has talked to him recently, and he is still with us regarding ICE rules about being in Marquette County and what they can and should do here and what they shouldn't. So there is that, not that we can't have someone else. Barb and Judy both said it was not them that spoke the last time.
It was Jane.
It was Jane someone.
Jane Taylor?
Yes.
Jane Taylor. So if anyone knows Jane Taylor and can reach out to Jane and get information about how that meeting went, what they did, and how we maybe can build upon that and revisit, great. I've been too busy. I have not done my what did you learn in the past year. Lydia, anything about the reliable resources and how they fit? That was something you had brought up.
Yeah, I made no progress on that.
All right. Yay, we're teammates. Thank you. Tina, anything for Whetstone Library of Things, or is that just still a hope and a plan for in the future?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Thoughts.
Awesome. So LSRI info? Elsa, don't let me forget these.
So we are going to meet again on February 5th. That's the big news, at the library downstairs. I've forgotten the time. 6? 6, thank you. There are committee meetings happening. I've heard about, so there's membership, there's communications, there's elections, there's events are all meeting, so there's ways to get involved and engaged on a bunch of different activities that are coming. And thank you to Brad, who got the newsletter up and running again and played a big part in that. And we are working on getting the website up in a very simple form once we figure out how to buy back or create a new URL, because the URL looks like it's already been purchased by somebody else and we've got to go get it now. Or we just come up with something else.
Are you talking about the base camp?
No, just a regular old website.
Okay.
We are using a platform called Basecamp to organize, and that's another conversation about how to keep our work going. And I wanted to read, of course, Leah and Ezra, the leaders, speak every Thursday at 3. They put out a newsletter today, that the big ask right now, federally, is to tell Slotkin and Peters and Bergman to not give one dime more to ICE and its illegal tactics. So you can call them yourselves. I use 5 calls, makes it easy because I don't have to look the number up. I just hit the app. ICE is the #1 topic. The Democrats, there's a split in the Democrats about how hard to push back on ICE. It's absolutely going to take all of us calling them and calling them and calling them every day to tell them that this is obscene and we need to stop. And we're going to have another budget shutdown situation at the end of the month. And that's why, yep.
For calling our representatives, I have a pamphlet with their information. We'll be sending that out with the notes.
Nice.
Thank you.
And so that is the #1 ask that we can make, is especially to Slotkin and Peters. They need to know. I mean, we can tell Bergman too. And then here it is. And then.
Where do they stand?
I don't know. I haven't. I was too busy on other things today. The Senate is particularly important. If we can get the Senate, I think that's the one we really need to push on. Our Democratic senators are seen as middle of the road, and the more that we in Michigan can push, the better off we're going to be. There's also going to be a phone bank tomorrow at 1 o'clock where you can, and those are ways to call people where it's the thing that we both love and hate, where you as a citizen are calling another citizen and you have that little delay and you hear this person, hi, I'm calling from so-and-so to talk about this important topic. But it actually really helps and it's a good thing, and I unfortunately have a previous commitment, but doing phone banks like that are really important. And then email your senators and ask them to restore ACA subsidies. The House 2 weeks ago already, remember, they did actually pass returning the subsidies to support our health insurance. That's another message to the Senate. If they could do this, they could fix this. They have that power, and they are not currently using it. So, and that is, did I get all? Yeah, so a lot going on in Indivisible Land, and what we're going to talk about on February 5th is about ICE. We're thinking that the main part of that conversation on the 5th will be how can we work together if we know people have been taken from our communities up here. How can we respond and help use our voices to push back, whether that's going to meet certainly with Sheriff Seibert, but also local police departments, all of our other local police departments, and all the other, our commissions, our county commissions, our city commissions, township commissions. How are they going to use their power to make sure that we're actually upholding the Constitution?
All right, so unless there's another update. Nope, Tina, you got?
Could you just announce for the microphone that there's a Together for Them meeting tomorrow at the library from 6:30 to 8?
Together for Them tomorrow, 6:30 to 8 at Peter White.
And it's a support group effort for those that have a family member that is trans.
So, and that is that support group for family members of trans. Did I say that correct?
Trans people.
Trans people. See, I knew that. I knew I like. There's something there. Sorry. My notes are really chaotic tonight too. So time for anyone to share new information. And we, meaning Yoopers Unite email, got an email from, I don't know, this Amber Doran. Oh, I am. Do you want to come and talk?
Sure.
I'm sorry. We should have said yay, because you haven't been here before, have you?
No.
Okay. Welcome. We usually welcome people. I'm so sorry. I'm so glad. Now you can say how to say your name for me. Okay. Sorry, so my name's Amber Dornwend, and I'm a local artist and an art teacher. And last Wednesday, I started walking as a response to ICE and sending out an invitation to people to join me. I'm just walking from the Ore Dock down to Coco's, basically along the lake. And I wasn't really sure. I was kind of just responding to all that I was feeling and what was happening with ICE. But after doing it a few days, I'm just kind of trying to promote it as a way for people just to be outside and kind of deal with the constant stress and the grieving maybe some of us are feeling about what's going on in the government, so that we can feel energized and ready to take on and do some of this other important work that needs to be done. So it's a pretty simple thing. I'm just walking every Monday through Friday. Anybody's welcome to join. I've been bringing a lantern just because it's kind of a cool symbolic gesture. If we do get a lot of people to walk with lanterns, and maybe we'll get covered by the media at some point. So it's just a show of solidarity and just a way to kind of keep up with your own personal mental health and wellness as well.
What time?
6 to 7 p.m. Yes.
And with the upcoming cold weather, is there any days that you're expecting to skip that, or are you gonna?
I mean, it's just, I'm gonna be there.
Okay.
But it's kind of a thing. You could come one day a week. You could try to come every day if you think that could be good for you. But it's just something you could drop in, bring a friend. It's a very casual thing. Yes.
I'm sorry, can you repeat, where do you start?
At the actual Ore Dock, not the brewery. Yeah, I just walk along the bike path, just there, away from the street.
Dogs
And
allowed?
yeah, of course. Dogs are encouraged. They bring joy. They do.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Elsa, you were talking to me while I was listening and writing notes. So you're going to have to help me here. Do you want to come up and talk, please?
The answer, of course, is no, but.
Turn the camera off?
Oh, that's no big deal. You interpreted.
So, you gotta go on the mic. Okay. Just otherwise they can't hear you. And then Graham is on at least.
So I got some additional cards at the post office that I paid for the postage and everything, so they're here. I had, thanks for the woo. I had friends that put some addresses on.
Speak into the mic. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm not that tall.
There you go.
Okay. I had friends that addressed some of these to Carbonac and Ed McBroom, is it pronounced right? That have no message on the back, so if you want to grab one and you have something you want to say to them, there's that. I have this where you can look up the sites for your representatives or your senators. And I have a pile of cards, okay? So, and I have more cards too. Anyway, phone calls might be more important right now because some things are going to have to be done really fast. They claim that they notice these.
Thank you.
I'll leave you for Jack Smith.
It's tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
Yeah, tomorrow morning, Jack Smith, his public testimony. Yeah. Oh, see? You can take that.
No, and I should say that I've got this, it's just written on the card, just either take a picture or see if you can get those addresses by just going on your phone, by putting in these sites.
Isn't it on Thursday?
Yeah, I think it's actually
Thursday.
Yeah, Jack Smith is the 22nd.
Yeah, it's Thursday.
Thursday. Thank you.
We should all put our TVs
I don't
on
know
that
what day it
channel.
is.
What are we
Yeah.
talking about? What is it?
What is that?
So Jack Smith is actually, he did his testimony closed before, and now he's the one that, someone else want to talk about this stuff?
The prosecutor on
He,
January.
Oh, yes.
yes, the January 6th prosecutor, hey, I'm going to keep documents in the Mar-a-Lago bathroom, that case, all of the cases again, the big cases against Trump.
Of Donald Trump in the January 6th insurrection case.
And the classified documents case.
And he is testifying that he truly did commit an insurrection and was responsible for committing for creating all of it.
And you can actually already see the testimony he did because they dropped it, but they dropped it like Christmas Eve or
Hoping people would miss it.
yeah, hoping people would miss it. But in that testimony he came straight out and he said, it didn't matter who it was, like the evidence proves that that this is a crime, that he would have been guilty. But they dropped that testimony at the last, during the holidays.
And that was behind closed doors, and
Yeah.
it was over 200
It wasn't
pages.
public.
And they did really, you can find it now.
Right.
But this is going to be
A bombshell.
Right.
This is going to be televised.
Right.
It will probably be live streamed, and if I can figure it out, I will stream it in the Discord for anyone who doesn't have a TV.
Okay. Tori has said that it will probably be live streamed, and she will live stream that into the Discord, if that can happen.
Yep.
Do we know what time?
I don't know. Anyone want to do a little quick search?
10 a.m. I think I saw 10 a.m. Thursday.
We got someone Googling it yet?
We got it.
Probably several people.
Yeah. Yeah, please don't make me do that too.
You gotta start treating it like when people are like, call emergency services. You need to just point at somebody and go, pink vest, Google it please,
Or like I did with my student, when someone asked me that, I'd go, I don't know, just look it up right now.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't know that answer. Okay, so the only other announcement that I have that people have told me about is so the support on January 30th, so under upcoming events it says January 30th. It's the third bullet under upcoming events. Support gathering, more details to come. I gave you some last week, but I can give you more now.
10 a.m. on Thursday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I was like, no, it's not at 10 a.m.
Because that's crazy.
They're hoping people miss it again.
That's the same time.
Yeah. All right, so the support gathering. My phone doesn't want to be nice to me. It is at the Citizens Forum room at Lakeview Arena. And I will put this in the notes and in the next week's agenda. On Friday, January 30th from 6:30 to 8. Oh my goodness. We are a group of concerned citizens, much like you, needing the company of others. Our intent is to form small conversation circles, share some light refreshments, and support one another. This January gathering is a follow-up to the times folks got together in safe spaces to comfort and support one another as we learned of the disturbing results of the 2024 presidential election. Our primary focus on January 30th is support, but resources will be available to help you connect with other local groups if you are seeking actions. And you can contact Judy or Craig Kitchen, and their number, I have their number if you want it, 906-362-8291. Otherwise, it's jkitchenmqt@gmail.
So this is a bigger venue than they were talking.
Yes. So I met with Barb and Judy asked for my input a week ago, I think. And they had just gotten the Citizens Forum. It's about 100 people that it can fit.
What is that, Citizens Forum?
It's in Lakeview Arena. It's you go in, it's just a room. That's what it's called in Lakeview. So you go, I want to say it's the middle entrance off of Fair. No, that's not Fair, is it? Yes. Thank you all for helping me. Middle entrance.
First door on the left.
And then, yeah, it's right when you walk in that middle entrance. And I do know that they had reached, because I helped them brainstorm some names of some people that, like like counselors, and that will help facilitate some of the conversation, small conversations. Is that it? 8 o'clock.
I think
Yeah,
that's it.
just a quick update.
No, that's
No,
okay.
before, I had something just written down, but.
Okay.
Sweet.
We did receive an email about some Ukrainian refugee families in the Marquette area that are facing possible deportation. They are trying to raise funds to pay for the expense to reapply for their humanitarian parolee immigration status. We will be sharing the link in the notes. It is already up in the Discord if you have access to that. So yeah, stay tuned.
Thank you.
I'm actually here we're kind of putting out an ask on behalf of Donovan. For those who don't know, there's a number of groups, some individual Twin Cities and a bunch of other labor groups and activists and clergy that are going to come together to support. So Donovan, as you know, is a priest at the Zundo and is planning to go. They've been getting together stuff to, it's supposed to be absolutely brutally cold. My understanding is they got the cold weather gear covered, but are looking for some monetary donations to help cover cost of gas, food and incidentals and things. So I said I would, pass a metaphorical hat around. I have no hat, but an envelope. And so anything that folks are willing to contribute, I'm going to throw in there too. And I'm going to drop that off at the Zendo tomorrow. You can also, I have Donovan's Venmo if you prefer to donate that way. And I can share that out with anybody who would like to donate that way. Or if you give me some cash, I promise hanging on to money is not a thing I like to do, and I will get that money over to Donovan as quickly as I possibly can. So yes, come see me tonight, Pink Fest, easy to see. Hit me up, or if you're watching on Discord and you saw Donovan's message, just reply back to them.
So there's a Market Advocates for Ukrainian Refugees.
Yeah.
By the site Give Butter. Is that something that is associated with that?
The Give Butter is something different. I think that might have been what Zeke was talking about before.
Different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, slightly different.
Yeah, that's a different thing. But yes, that's, I believe, something related to the Ukrainian folks locally. So yeah, this is to help Donovan to cover expenses going down to support other clergy and the activists in Minnesota that are going to be doing a walk, I believe, at 2.
Thank you. My friend just told me I was 2 steps behind her.
You got it. It's all right. I got you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anything else?
Last call.
Let's go. Yeah.
All right. Break up tables in the street.
So I do have these, because I mentioned that at the beginning, and if you're like me, you might have already forgot that I have those breakout tables. Do we have them? Do we need them tonight?